You know what's interesting? Most women think men only notice appearances, the hair, the outfit, the makeup. And sure, those things might catch attention for a second, but what really makes a man stop, what really leaves an impression, are the things you don't even realize you're doing. So let's talk about 7 things women have no idea men notice about them. Confidence over appearance is one of the most powerful and underrated things that women often don't realize men truly notice. When you walk into a room, the first thing that speaks is not your outfit, not your makeup, not even your hairstyle. It's the way you carry yourself. You could be wearing the simplest clothes, but if you walk with your shoulders back, your head held high, and a quiet assurance in your steps, people notice, and men especially notice. It's not arrogance. It's not being louder than everyone else in the room. It's that calm self-assurance that says, I know who I am and I'm comfortable with it. Men see that. They pick up on how you present yourself long before they pay attention to the brand of your dress or the color of your shoes. Confidence makes even the simplest outfit look like it belongs on a runway. On the other hand, insecurity can make even the most glamorous outfit look invisible. Because here's the truth, style and beauty can turn heads for a second, but confidence holds attention for much longer. It lingers. It leaves an impression. Think about the difference between someone who constantly adjusts their clothes, hides behind their hair, or avoids eye contact, versus someone who walks in, makes genuine eye contact, and smiles like they belong there. One is hoping not to be noticed, while the other radiates a presence that naturally draws people in. That difference is not found in a store, not found in a mirror, and not found in the opinion of others. It's found within. Men notice when a woman is comfortable in her own skin, because it allows them to feel more comfortable around her too. Confidence doesn't mean you never doubt yourself. It doesn't mean you never feel nervous. It means you choose not to let those doubts control you. It means you walk into that meeting, that dinner, that first date with the understanding that your worth is not defined by someone else's approval. And here's the beautiful part. Men can sense that. They notice when you don't need validation, when you don't need constant reassurance, when you're not depending on someone else to tell you you're valuable. That independence is attractive in ways you may not realize. And let's be honest, confidence is contagious. When you carry yourself with quiet strength, you give permission for others to do the same. That's why men notice it. It's magnetic. It makes the entire interaction easier, smoother, more natural. You don't have to fight for attention because your presence already commands it. You don't have to compete because you've already won by being grounded in who you are. So when you're tempted to think the dress, the lipstick, or the heels are what matter most, remember this: the most stunning accessory you can ever wear is confidence. Men might admire the outfit, but they respect the woman who wears it with grace. And in the end, confidence doesn't just get noticed, it gets remembered. Natural expressions are some of the most powerful things that women don't even realize men notice. You can spend hours in front of the mirror perfecting your look, but the truth is, it's the unplanned moments, the smile that slips out when something genuinely amuses you, the laugh that bursts out before you can hold it back, the sparkle in your eyes when you're engaged in a conversation, that capture attention in ways makeup never can. Men notice those details not because they're analyzing them, but because those little expressions are real, unfiltered, and impossible to fake. They reveal something about you that no amount of contouring or eyeliner can duplicate. Think about it. A smile that comes naturally has a power that no staged photo ever will. It softens the moment, disarms tension, and creates warmth in a way that words can't. A laugh, even if it's loud or quirky, communicates joy, openness, and comfort. And eye contact, it's not just looking at someone, it's letting them know you're present, that you're actually there with them in that moment. Men notice when your eyes are alive and genuine, and it draws them in because it feels real. These natural expressions matter because they are windows into who you are. They show your personality in ways clothing or makeup can't. You can't plan them, you can't rehearse them, and you can't fake them without people noticing. That's exactly why they leave such a lasting impression. Men remember the way you smiled at them when they said something funny more than the shade of lipstick you wore. They remember the way you lit up when you talked about something you loved more than the exact outfit you had on. And here's the truth. Those natural expressions are the very things that often make you self-conscious. You might think your laugh is too loud, or your smile is a little crooked, or that you blink too much when you're nervous. But those quirks are the very things that make you memorable. Men don't see them as flaws, they see them as human. They see them as pieces of your uniqueness, the parts that can't be copied or replaced. It's easy to get caught up in appearances, to believe that your effort has to go into looking perfect on the outside. But perfection rarely connects with people. Authenticity does. Men notice when your guard drops, when you stop worrying about being put together and simply exist in the moment. That's when your real beauty shows, the kind that can't be washed off at the end of the day. So the next time you laugh without covering your mouth, or smile without checking how it looks, or hold someone's gaze without worrying if you should look away, you're doing more than you realize. Men notice that. They notice the humanity, the honesty, the authenticity in those expressions. And long after the makeup fades, those little moments are what stay in their memory. Because beauty might impress, but natural expressions connect. Small acts of kindness are often overlooked, but they are some of the most powerful things men notice without you even realizing it. When most people think about what makes an impression, they picture big, dramatic gestures, lavish gifts, over-the-top compliments, or making a grand entrance. But what sticks with men are often the smallest, simplest things. The way you say thank you to a waiter, the way you hold the door for someone even if you're in a rush, the way you speak with respect to people who can't give you anything in return. Those tiny actions say more about your character than any speech or outfit ever could. Men pay attention to how you treat others because it reveals something deeper. It shows whether your kindness is genuine or conditional. Anybody can be polite when it's convenient, but when you show thoughtfulness in everyday situations, it sends a message. It says you carry respect, not because someone earned it, but because it's part of who you are. That's what men notice. It's not about being perfect or putting on a show. It's about being consistent in how you value people. Even the way you treat yourself matters. Men notice if you're gentle with yourself, if you practice patience instead of constant self-criticism, if you respect your own boundaries. That's a form of kindness too, and it doesn't go unnoticed. It tells him that you're not only capable of giving to others, but also capable of maintaining balance in your own life. Think about the difference it makes when someone acknowledges another person, even in a small way. A smile to the cashier, holding space in a conversation so someone else feels heard, or showing gratitude for even the smallest help. Those things add up. They create an atmosphere of warmth and humility that people can feel. Men notice that atmosphere. They notice when being around you feels lighter, calmer, and more respectful simply because of the way you interact with the world. And here's the important part. Small acts of kindness don't go out of style. They don't fade like trends or lose value with time. In fact, they grow in significance. Over weeks, months, and years, it's not the dramatic gestures that people hold on to. It's the consistent pattern of thoughtfulness that builds trust and admiration. Men are more likely to remember the times you showed respect when you didn't have to, the moments when you were thoughtful in ways that nobody expected. Kindness also has a ripple effect. When you treat someone with respect, others around you are encouraged to do the same. Men notice that influence too. They see how your presence affects not just them, but the people around you. That's real impact, and it doesn't require a stage, a spotlight, or applause. So while it's tempting to think that only the big, bold actions make an impression, remember this: it's the little things that matter most. The small, quiet gestures of kindness are often louder than words. Men notice them, even if they don't always say it. And in the end, those simple acts of thoughtfulness are what leave the deepest mark, because kindness is never forgotten. The way you listen is one of the most underestimated qualities that men notice, and it goes far deeper than most people realize. We live in a world full of noise, distractions, and constant scrolling. Everyone is multitasking, half present in conversations, and quick to respond without really hearing what's being said. That's why genuine listening stands out. It's rare. When a man feels that you are truly present with him, when your attention is on him and not divided between a dozen other things, it leaves a lasting impression. It tells him that he matters in that moment, that his words carry weight, and that you value his presence. Listening isn't just about staying quiet while the other person speaks. Men can tell the difference between someone who is waiting for their turn to talk and someone who is actually taking in what's being said. A nod at the right time, thoughtful eye contact, a question that digs a little deeper, all of those are signals that you're engaged. They show that you're not just hearing words, but connecting with the meaning behind them. Men notice when they don't have to fight for your attention, when they don't have to compete with your phone, or when they feel like what they're saying isn't being brushed aside. There's something powerful about that kind of presence. It's not dramatic, but it's unforgettable. A man might not remember every detail of the conversation, but he will remember how he felt during it. He'll remember whether he felt heard, respected and understood, or dismissed, rushed, and overlooked. And those feelings often matter more than the words themselves. The way you listen also reveals something important about you. It shows patience, it shows empathy, it shows that you value people not just for what they can do, but for who they are. Men notice when you let someone finish their thought without interrupting, when you give space for silence instead of filling it with noise, when you respond in a way that makes them feel supported rather than judged. Those are not small things. They're the building blocks of trust, and trust is something men never overlook. What makes listening so powerful is that it's not about perfection, it's about intention. You don't have to have all the answers. You don't need to solve every problem. Sometimes just being fully present is enough. Men notice when you lean in, when you put away distractions, when your body language says, "I'm here with you." That simple act of presence can create a connection stronger than any carefully chosen words. So the next time you're in a conversation, remember that listening is not passive, it's active. It's not just a courtesy, it's a gift. Men notice when you give it, because it's rare in a world that constantly pulls people's attention away. And in the end, it's not the clever words or witty comebacks that stay with them. It's the memory of someone who made them feel like they were the only person in the room. That kind of listening doesn't just get noticed, it gets cherished. How you handle stress is one of the most telling qualities about you, and it's something men notice more than you might think. Life is full of pressure, deadlines, family demands, unexpected problems, and situations that don't go the way you planned. Stress is universal, but the way you respond to it reveals more about your character than almost anything else. When you choose calmness, when you carry yourself with grace under pressure, it leaves a mark that's hard to forget. Men don't just see what you say or do in those moments. They feel the energy you bring into them. Anyone can be collected when things are easy, but it's during the storms, when emotions are high and outcomes uncertain, that your true strength shows. Men notice whether you panic or whether you breathe, whether you lash out or whether you steady yourself, whether you let frustration control you or choose to rise above it. That kind of composure is not about ignoring stress. It's about managing it in a way that inspires confidence in yourself and in the people around you. Calmness in stressful situations doesn't mean being detached or emotionless. It's about staying grounded when everything else feels shaky. Men notice when you take a pause before reacting, when you speak with clarity instead of letting anger or fear take over, when you carry yourself with dignity even when circumstances don't deserve it. That grace stands out because it's rare. Most people react instantly, but those who stay steady under pressure command respect without ever having to demand it. But here's what's often overlooked. The way you handle stress doesn't just affect you. It affects the people around you. When you carry calm energy into a room, you set the tone. You make others feel safe. You give them permission to slow down, to breathe, to think clearly. Men notice when being around you helps them feel more centered instead of more anxious. That's not a small thing. That's influence. Handling stress with grace also shows something deeper about your inner world. It shows discipline, resilience, and emotional maturity. It says that you don't let life's chaos dictate your peace. Men notice when you have the ability to bend without breaking, to stay patient when things are delayed, and to trust yourself even when things are uncertain. Those qualities are far more attractive than temporary beauty because they point to strength that lasts over time. Of course, no one handles stress perfectly all the time. We all stumble, we all get frustrated, we all lose patience. But men notice the effort. They notice when you take a breath instead of lashing out, when you reset instead of giving up, when you keep moving forward instead of shutting down. Those little choices repeated over time build an image of someone who can be relied on no matter what life throws at them. In the end, what men remember isn't just how you looked or what you said, it's how you carried yourself when life tested you. Calmness under pressure is unforgettable because it's rare. And when a woman can hold her ground with grace, it leaves a lasting impression that goes beyond the moment. It becomes part of how she's remembered, respected, and admired. Authenticity is one of those qualities that can't be faked, and it's something men notice almost immediately. In a world where people are constantly curating images, polishing appearances, and trying to meet everyone else's expectations, being yourself stands out more than you realize. Men may admire beauty, style, or charm, but what they truly remember is when a woman is unapologetically herself. That kind of presence is refreshing because it's real, and real is rare. Trying too hard is easy to spot. It shows up in the way someone forces a laugh that doesn't quite fit the moment, or when they change their opinions just to match the crowd, or when every move seems calculated for approval. It might impress on the surface, but it doesn't last. Men can feel the difference between effort that comes from insecurity and confidence that comes from authenticity. One leaves them questioning what's genuine, while the other puts them at ease. Authenticity isn't about being perfect. In fact, it's often the imperfections that make you most relatable and memorable. Men notice when you own your quirks instead of hiding them, when you speak your mind without rehearsing the perfect answer, when you laugh at yourself instead of pretending you've got it all together. Those little moments of honesty break down walls faster than any polished performance ever could. What makes authenticity so powerful is that it creates trust. When you are yourself, men don't have to wonder who you really are or what you really think. They don't have to guess if you're saying what you mean or just what you think they want to hear. That clarity is attractive because it allows for a deeper connection. Pretending can create attention, but only authenticity builds trust. And trust is what men hold on to. Men also notice authenticity in the way you carry your values. It shows up when you set boundaries, when you say no without guilt, when you stand by what you believe, even if it's not popular. Those actions speak louder than words because they prove you're not bending yourself into someone else's version of acceptable. That self-respect commands respect from others. The truth is, authenticity takes courage. It's easier to hide behind trends, filters, or approval-seeking behaviors than to show up as you are. But men notice when you choose the harder road. They see when you're not performing, when you're not competing, when you're comfortable in your own skin. And that comfort is magnetic. It doesn't just draw attention, it keeps it. At the end of the day, you don't need to be the loudest, the most glamorous, or the most polished to stand out. What men remember isn't the version of you that tried the hardest, it's the version that was most true. Authenticity has a way of making every interaction more meaningful because it's real. And when you show up as yourself, you give others permission to do the same. That kind of honesty doesn't just get noticed, it gets valued, remembered, and deeply respected. When you put all of these pieces together, confidence, natural expressions, small acts of kindness, the way you listen, how you handle stress, your authenticity, and the respect you carry for yourself, you start to see a bigger picture. These aren't tricks, they aren't strategies, and they aren't about trying to impress anyone. They're about who you are when no one is watching. And that's exactly what men notice most. It's not the surface level details that last, it's the deeper qualities, the ones that can't be bought, copied, or faked. So remember this, the very things you think go unnoticed are often the things that make the biggest impression. It's not about perfection, it's about presence. It's not about performance, it's about character. And the truth is, when you carry yourself with grace, authenticity, kindness, and respect, you don't just get noticed. You get remembered. Thank you.